Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. And in this week's look at how the Brexit media is spinning things, I see that the old technological solutions is back up again in the old favourite, the Daily Express. But do their characteristically light on details claims make any sense? But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So yeah, Daily Express again. Being honest, I may have to now stop doing these as a weekly thing because these videos were about how the Brexit media were going to start spinning things once the reality of Brexit came in, and it's just the Daily Express. You know, it's increasingly difficult to find the other pro-Brexit mainstream media saying anything about it even on a weekly basis. Every now and then there's something, so maybe I'll do a video every now and then on it. The good old Daily Express, though, is still pumping them out at least once a day. And in this one from Monday, it's the digital borders again. Remember how before we had to come to terms with even leaving the EU, various Brexiteers insisted that the difficulties over trade border control could be solved with technological solutions. They even claimed that it wouldn't require anything novel, that the solutions already existed, were in operation between other countries. So when you see the issue being brought up again, you have to ask a very pertinent question. Given that the people who insisted on these technological solutions are now in power, why don't we have them? Because I try to do these videos from the point of view of critical thinking. When presented with a claim, what questions should we be asking? This article claims that the smart border solution seems to have been forgotten. But why? If the original claim that issues around borders was just a Remainer plot to make Brexit sound more difficult than it really is, where is this smart border? After all, Remainers aren't in government. Remainers have had no steering of the process from start to finish. Jacob Rees-Mogg talked about smart borders and he's now the Brexit minister. Why isn't he talking about them and revealing government plans to install them? Without an answer to that question, the entire premise is highly suspect. Then we come to the experts that the Express puts forward to champion this notion. He's presented to us in the article as a businessman behind an innovative startup. Now, two massive things here. First, without disparaging the gentleman in question, look at the information and language here. This is the owner of a business. So of course he's going to talk in aspirational terms about some products that he may wish to make money from. The word innovative is designed to make it sound like it's a revolutionary idea, but all it actually means is that it hasn't been done before. Some innovative ideas really do revolutionise the way we do things. Innovation is the way we drive progress, of course. But it doesn't always work, does it? Trying to get down to the bottom of a cliff by jumping off and hoping to fly is innovative, but that doesn't mean we're going to be successful. When someone is trying to promote an innovative idea, all they're actually saying is this hasn't been done before. That's it. That is the extent of it. Then he's described as running a startup. Well, that means that even the business model is untested. I looked up a bit on the company. It was started in 2021, provides digital solutions to help link up suppliers with traders. For example, the example it cites is supermarkets with suppliers. Now that sounds like an incredibly useful tool for helping Northern Irish businesses find suppliers in the single market when they're struggling with reliability from current British suppliers, because they're struggling to get staff or managing the deliveries after Brexit. I am sure it is useful outside of the confines of Brexit as well. It sounds like a cracking idea. But it's not immediately clear how it helps deal with the Brexit trade border problems. To properly assess the solution, we need to understand what the problem is. And when I say the problem, I mean the problem as the likes of the Daily Express like to frame it. It comes down to two issues, but the same core problem. The issues are those of customs and standards. Now, we can look specifically at the issues around exports from Britain to Northern Ireland, as this gets the most attention. But the problem is actually more acute between Britain and the EU, even though the media tend not to talk about that, and the government certainly don't. Our issues are customs and standards. Customs is essentially about, us paying the correct duties on imports, making sure the government knows what's coming in. Standards is about making sure that the goods being imported meet the rules of the market importing them. And there's a load of paperwork involved in dealing with these processes. It would speed things up if the government had developed better software for the task and if they'd linked up with EU systems. But the documentation would still need to exist. Then your next problem is making sure that the documentation that accompanies the deliveries, even in digital form, matches what's actually in the consignment. Now, the only way to make sure of this is to physically check it. Of course, not every single consignment is checked. You can't do that. Everything will grind to a halt. So you check according to a risk-based system. You need to carry out a reasonable number of random checks, as well as checks on anything considered higher risk by customs officials, say. If the documentation doesn't match the consignment, you've got a couple of issues. The Treasury loses out on customs duties because not everything was properly declared. It's like you're going to export something, you think to yourself, there'll be a lot of import duties on that. I'm not selling this competitively here. I know, I'll say it's something else to reduce it. No one's going to check anyway. So we lose out on a lot of taxes that is used for funding public services. But we could also find ourselves with unsafe products. You know, our biggest immediate risk is of importing a very infectious animal disease to further knacker British farming and food production. So going back to the article, is this smart border idea promising to solve these problems? No. All this article is an advertisement from a guy who co-owns a brand new business that is desperately looking for customers. It would love to have Her Majesty's government as a customer, I'm sure. He'd spend a lot of money. Even if the guy in question could deliver his solution as stated. And remember, he doesn't have an established solution to offer. What it'll do is make the process of documentation less painful. Now that's worth doing, but we're supposed to be developing a system for doing that anyway. Michael Gove promised the system would be in place for 2024. So the guy isn't even suggesting that we do something that the government's not already promising to do. Now, I'm not holding my breath for this brand spanking new system to be ready for 2024 or to even work when it does come out. But nonetheless, the government are promising to do that. You know, what this system means is that we just make the part of the process easier. Does it mean we don't need to have the documentation at all? No. Does it mean at least that it can be automated, that we don't have to do it? No. Does it mean we don't need the physical checks? No. So how does it help with the problems of exporting to Northern Ireland that the government and the likes of the Daily Express keep belly aching about? It doesn't. I'll tell you what this article's doing. It's waving a hand vaguely in the direction of trade border friction, going, there's a trade border friction. You've heard about it in the press, mostly from us. And it only exists because of Brexit. Well, they don't like to draw that link. So what they're saying is they're talking about digital border solutions and then not linking the two up. So they're leaving it to the readers to make that leap of faith, to imagine that these technological solutions that have been talked about somehow deal with the problem that is also being talked about in this and other articles. You know, somehow it'll allow a system whereby businesses don't need to deal with the expensive and time-consuming documentation, that border officials don't need to physically check consignments. But this isn't what the solution even purports to offer. Yes, we should have better digital systems. Right now, not even all of the systems are digital. The ones we developed were not created in consultation with end users, so from a project management point of view, it was a complete shambles. We'd solve loads of problems with the Northern Ireland trade overnight if we linked up our systems with the EU so that data could be shared in real time, but we haven't. We said we would, we haven't. This is because much of the trade friction with Northern Ireland is a little bit like the rail strikes. They're essentially confected by the Tory government. They don't want solutions in place because they don't want businesses in Northern Ireland to benefit from the protocol any more than they want poorly paid rail workers to be able to afford the cost of living. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.